people of the internet, it's Amanda, and 4 days of Rio. I'm here to talk about a film that I actually liked more than I expected. I'm talking about Omoi, Omoware, Furi, Furare. Stars Hamabe Minami, Kitamura, Takumi, Fukumoto, Riko, and Akaso, Eiji. And the thing with this one is, it's quite intriguing because obviously with the cast lineup, you'd be immediately intrigued by the plot. But then you read about it and there's a whole like stepsister, stepbrother thing going on. So I thought, is this going to be another Marmalade Boy situation? Because I did a video on that. Didn't exactly like that film. I found it really weird. But then for some reason, I ended up watching this film recently and I actually genuinely liked how it was, and that's the reason why I wanted to talk about it today. So without further ado, let's just get to the video. As usual, let's talk about the plot first. It all starts with the friendship of Akari and Yuna, played by Hamabe Minami and Fukumoto Riko respectively. Yuna is definitely the more like shy kind of character. She's kind of new and everything. And then Akari is this very bright, very approachable, friendly type of character, which is very befitting of her name. And then Yuna has a childhood friend played by Akaso Eiji named Kazu. And then for Hamabe Minami, she has a stepbrother played by Kitamura Takumi, who is Rio. Now, the story revolves around the four of them, and it's quite interesting because initially I thought it was going to be he loves her, she loves him kind of situation, but it honestly wasn't like that at all. So basically, Yuna has a crush on someone who lives in their new apartment complex, and then she finds out that apparently it's Rio, which is her friend Akari's stepbrother. But then there's some sort of like tension between Akari and Rio, and we later find out that Rio is actually in love with Akari, but it's not exactly as weird as it is because their parents got married and started dating and got married in between, like the two of them already having feelings initially, and then they just got jumbled into this entire like wedding situation, so they ended up as stepbrother and stepsister. And then for Akaso Eiji's character Kazu, so it was shown that he doesn't really, even if he's childhood friends with Yuna, there's nothing romantic going on between them. It was really more of like a plot device for like the whole childhood friend situation was really more of like a plot device for him to meet Akari and for Akari to sort of like fall in love with him. So yeah, it's really more of like a topsy-turvy type of thing where there's drama here and there, everything like that. So yeah, so basically Yuna finds out that Rio is actually in love with Akari, but then because of the whole stepbrother stepsister situation, so it's kind of like weird between the two of them. I didn't read the manga, so I don't exactly know if Akari felt the same way initially with Rio, because apparently the day that they found out that their parents were going to get married, it was supposedly about the day where Rio was supposed to confess to Akari that he has feelings for her. So things just got complicated because Akari is a type who sort of like doesn't want to bother everybody, and she just deals with the situation herself, and she made it seem like she didn't read the message of Rio that day. She destroyed her phone and stuff like that. It's a very like, complicated thing to explain just by talking about it. But basically, both of them know that Rio Rio and Akari, both of them know that there's this thing going on, but they can't do it because they're stepsister and stepbrother. But it's not exactly as weird as Marmalade Boy, where they fall in love after the marriage of their parents. It's really more of like Rio already has feelings for Akari. It's just that the circumstances were against them, if you get what I mean. So, not saying it's 100% okay, but it's definitely still weird in a way. But I like how the story sort of like detoured in a way that after they cleared out everything, there's a closure of feelings of some sort. Rio finally like starts falling in love with Yuna because Yuna becomes his friend. And then Yuna, on the other hand, because of both Rio and her friendship with Akari, starts to become more of this like very open, very bright person. She's not as shy anymore. So there's definitely that layer of development in her character as well, which I really, really liked. Because again, they didn't make it seem like your typical, or what they call this, like predictable high school type of story where this person likes this person, and then it's a jumble of like a love square type of thing. Definitely not that. Akari confessed her feelings to Kazu, but then for Kazu, he also likes Rio as a friend. So when he accidentally sees that Rio actually has feelings for Akari, and then he decided to sort of like step back, all of these types of things. So then we also get to the point of them having these dreams that they want to achieve and not being able to do so because they're considering other people's feelings and like just wanting to not cause trouble and everything. So it's definitely a coming of age story in my opinion. In the end, everything got settled. So Yuna and Rio got together in the end, and then Akari and Kazu also got together in the end. There was the whole weird stepbrother thing was totally just a part of like the first part of the film to put a little bit more tension in that. But it was, instead of it being the focus of the story, again, it was really more of like a plot device, or more of like just one of the things to put a little bit more flavor to the story, but it wasn't entirely about it. Ultimately, I think other than the love story aspect of it, it's more of a story of family and friendship and like talking to people about your dreams and actually wanting to be something that you're really passionate about. And it's all about like these four characters, and it's not really more of like who ended up with which character, anything like that. It was really more of like the people that they are after everything that they've gone through in the narrative of the story, which I feel like is really, really something. I feel like it's an experience watching it for yourself, so I'm also having trouble trying to like explain the plot as it is, because there's just so many things happening in terms of like the layers and the nuances of the characters. And again, initially I thought that I wouldn't like it as much as I did, because I found the whole stepsister stepbrother thing weird. But when I realized that it was just one part of the film, and it made a little bit more sense as to why the characters felt a certain way, and like in terms of their character development, and it's not really as weird or complex as how it is with their treatment with Marmalade Boy. I really, really liked how the story was made. I'm not sure how it is for those who've read the manga, or I'm not sure if there's an anime or something like that, but definitely like for me, if just by itself as a film, the storytelling was actually nice in a way that it gave justice to every single one of the characters and their relationships and how they developed, and it didn't seem so salacious in a way, especially for like some of the other aspects of the film. So I really, really like it. It can definitely get a little bit more melodramatic for some viewers. Like if you're into very lively, heart-fluttering type of love stories, this may not be for you, because it's definitely not that. These characters definitely have a lot more layers to them than just having unrequited loves or anything like that. It's not like that at all. Like there's a lot of like factors that went into it. As I mentioned earlier, there's definitely family and friendship, and I think most importantly, like the friendship between Yuna and Akari is highlighted a lot in this film. Even if there's this separation of them having each of their love interests, but ultimately it's about having their friendship bloom in a way that the other person learned from the other person and vice versa. Of course, it's a film, so there's definitely a lot more room to flesh out in terms of their characters, but I feel like as it is, it did a really good job already in terms of relaying the story that it wants to tell. So would I recommend this film? Definitely. Like, if you're into more of like slice of life type of romance high school stories, then definitely I would recommend this. Again, if you initially wanted to skip out on this because of, you know, the trailer implied some sort of like weird relationship thing happening, I assure you that as someone who gets easily put off by these types of storylines, the way that Omoi, Omoware, Furi, Furare delivered this story, it's actually pretty, like, it's actually, I mean, it's not necessary. They could have gone with that, like, with that narrative altogether, but then the way that it added tension to the story, it's sort of like, it still made sense in a way, so it's not exactly as they also did it in a way that it's not that questionable. Like, there are a lot of like intents in that particular side of the story that was sort of like necessary in terms of explaining the character of both Rio and Akari and the whole relationship dynamic that went on throughout the film. Overall, again, I really like this entire thing. I like the part where it's a Kitamura Takumi film, but then his leading lady didn't die this time around, or no one died in the plot after all, so I really like that. I've been really liking Akaso Eiji lately because of Kanojo wa Kiredata. So it's also another reason why I decided to give this film a second chance. Like, initially I was planning to skip out on it altogether, but then after, because of TakuMina, and then there's also Akaso Eiji, so I decided to click on it. And I feel like Fukumoto Riko is really cute. Again, it's a really nicely done film. Don't let the initial what do they call this, like the initial impressions given by the trailer or just the plot synopsis put you off, because it's definitely a film that's more than just, you know, your typical high school love story. And yeah, like, if you're into these types of like films, then I highly recommend this one as well. So with that said, so have you seen this film or planning to see this film? What kind of films are you into lately? Let's talk it out down in the comments below. I also would appreciate recommendations to watch or anything like that. I've always been looking for new things to watch recently. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon in a new one.